r/nosleep. Posted by u/Elias_Withero. /6/6/3/5/8/moon. Part 1. I bought a new phone earlier today. Ever since then my life has taken a weird turn and I don't know what to make of it, so I'm just going to write it all out. Maybe someone else can make sense of all this. After I bought the phone, the first thing I did was plug it in to charge. By the time I went to bed, it was at 100%. As I lay in bed with the lights off, I decided to play around with it before going to sleep. I turned it on, squinting in the dark against the bright screen. As soon as it booted up, it began to ring. I jumped, the sudden noise jerking me into alertness. I stared at the screen, confused. The incoming number read, /6/6/3/5/8/moon. Having never seen anything like it, and with the phone still chirping in my hand, I slowly put it to my ear and answered. Hello? At first it was just a whitewash of static. It hummed in my ear like a swarm of angry bees. And then I began to hear a voice. It was deep and sounded slightly robotic. As I pressed my ear to the receiver, I noticed the voice was saying the same thing over and over again. There's death on the surface. There's death on the surface. There's death on the surface. On every third loop, I'd hear something in the background, between sentences. It was this ping, like a radar, followed by someone yelling angrily over static. Dumbfounded, I lowered the phone and disconnected the call. What the hell? What was that all about? Just as the screen dimmed, it suddenly lit up again. I had received a text message. It was from the same odd jumble of numbers and letters, /6/6/3/5/8/moon. Hesitantly, I opened the text. It was a picture. I squinted and enlarged the image. It looked like it was taken at night, outside somewhere. The screen was black except for 3 blurry orbs of blue light hovering in the distance. They were slightly spaced apart and in no discernible formation. Below the image were 4 words, "Beware the blue lights." I closed the phone and placed it on the bed beside me. I felt uneasy in the darkness. It was all just so strange. What was all this? I rolled over and stared at the wall. Maybe I'd return the phone in the morning or ask them to change my number. Wrong numbers were bad enough, but this was just weird. Suddenly, the phone began to ring again. I snatched it up and blinked against its bright display. Same number. Hello? I barked, an edge in my voice. Again that robotic low voice, there's death on the surface. There's death on the surface. There's death on the surface. Right as I was about to hang up, something changed. The voice stopped and was replaced by the sound of heavy breathing. I listened for a couple seconds, the sound loud in my ear. Is someone there? I asked cautiously. The breathing suddenly stopped, a sharp pull of air. Then, you can hear me? The voice was thin and sounded very far away. Who the hell is this? I demanded. A garble of static, then yelling, the same voice still sounding very far away, "St. way," from the blue. The call disconnected as white noise overwhelmed the line. What the fuck, I muttered, sitting up. I realized my heart was racing. My phone chirped, announcing a new text. I paused. The number was different. This one read, /6/6/3/5/8/res. I wiped my sweaty palms on the sheets and opened up the text. It was another picture. And when I saw it, my breath died on my lips. It was a picture of my apartment building. Beneath the picture was one word in all caps, stop. I sprang from the bed and raced to my window. I peered out into the darkness, a trickle of sweat running down my spine. Was someone out there watching me? Why? What was happening? My phone rang from the bed. I turned and saw its light between a tangle of sheets. I walked over and picked it up. It was from the first number, /6/6/3/5/8/moon. Should I ignore it? Who was so desperately trying to reach out to me? I shot a glance at the window and answered, "Who is this? Are you watching me?" A wave of static and then that same thin voice, distant across the line, "Get me out of here." The man was taking deep breaths between words, like he was in pain. I heard something bang around followed by the ping noise 3 or 4 times. Then the voice returned. "Please, you have to help me." His voice rose and fell, like it was being filtered through some kind of machine. I heard a hiss of steam through the static and then the ping returned. "Where are you? What is going on?" I asked, trying to stay in control of my voice. The voice was so far away now that I had to close my eyes and focus all my concentration to hear. I'm by the lights." He was cut off and my ears filled with the familiar robotic loop. There's death on the surface. There's death on the surface. There's death on the surface. I hung up. I stood in the darkness, sweating. I knew what was coming next. New text message from /6/6/3/5/8/res. I didn't want to look at it, but morbid curiosity got the best of me. It was another picture. I brought the phone to my face, the image dark and blurry. When I realized what it was, I stumbled back against the wall, heart slamming into my chest, my eyes wide. It was a picture of me, taken seconds ago, standing in the middle of my bedroom in the dark. It looked like it had been taken from my closet. I tore my eyes from the screen to my closet door and saw that it was cracked slightly. I could feel something watching me from the slit of darkness and I was paralyzed with overwhelming fear. My mind screamed at me with furious urgency to get away, but I couldn't move. Suddenly, a blue flash erupted from the slit of darkness and I sank to my knees, gasping for air. I felt a presence leave the room, a rush of energy that had been holding me in place. I turned on the lights and immediately powered down my phone. I grabbed my car keys and bolted from my apartment. I drove to the nearest hotel, got a room, and have locked myself inside. I'm sitting now on the side of my bed. The phone is on the small coffee table across the room. It's still off. I haven't dared turn it back on. I keep thinking I see flashes of blue light in the sky, but it might just be my paranoia. I don't know what was in my room and I don't want to find out. I just have to keep the phone off. Oh, fuck. It's ringing again. Posted by you/Elias_Withero. /6/6/3/5/8/moon, part 2. I sat on the hotel bed staring at my phone. It was still ringing. How was that possible? I had turned it off. My heart was racing in my chest and my breath was stale on my tongue. I didn't want to answer it. I felt like I had discovered something that wasn't supposed to be found, some strange secret that had gotten out. But what was it? Who kept trying to contact me? The phone stopped ringing and I waited a few impossibly long seconds. A loud chirp announced a new voicemail. I licked my lips and looked to the sky outside the window. I didn't see any blue lights. I walked to the coffee table my phone was on and picked it up. My stomach sank. It was from /6/6/3/5/8/res. Taking a deep breath, I played the voicemail. It sounded like someone was yelling underwater. It came in short bursts followed by a screech of static. After this went on for a couple seconds, I heard a click like a receiver being lifted. Then a robotic voice began to speak in broken English. Watch. 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 A burst of static, then, no. End. No. End. No. End. I pulled the phone from my ear and stopped listening. My hands were shaking. What the hell was going on? I went to the window and grabbed the curtains. As I pulled them close, I looked up into the dark night sky and my heart froze. 3 blue orbs the size of baseballs were slowly moving across the sky in a zigzag pattern. They were far away, but there was no question as to what I saw. As I forced air back into my lungs, I saw them drop from the sky like bullets racing towards the earth, leaving cobalt trails in their wake. They vanished over the horizon and I whisked the curtains closed. My phone beeped in my hand. A text from /6/6/3/5/8/res. I opened it in the darkness of the room. I sank to the floor as my eyes read the message. See. With my back against the wall, I stared into the room, eyes wide. I felt naked and exposed, a claustrophobia reaching into my chest and squeezing my insides with a burning hand. What was I supposed to do? How could I stop this? The phone rang. I looked down. /6/6/3/5/8/moon. I answered in a panic. Why are the lights following me? What are they? Static and coughing somewhere in the distance. Then, that thin male voice returned. They've found you, haven't they? Shit, it's my fault, I'm sorry. I pressed the phone hard against my head, voice coming out in a hiss. Who are they? I heard a release of steam from the other end and that ping returned, announcing itself twice before the man answered. They're called the deep lights. Coughing and then a gasp of air. Why you have to get me out of here, please? A buzz of static filled my ear and I pulled away, wincing. Where are you? I asked, shifting the phone to my other ear. I heard banging and another ping. His voice came back ragged, some kind of moon. What the fuck? You're calling me from the moon? I asked, my voice a low whisper. The line was dying. The man sounded like he was speaking from the far end of a long hallway, His voice desperately urgent. No, it's not our moon. What I'm seeing, it's not Earth. The line howled suddenly as feedback blasted in my ear. I grit my teeth and yanked the phone away from my head as the line went dead. I stared into nothing, realizing how fast I was breathing. Nothing made any sense. Nothing added up. Just what in the hell was going on? Suddenly, a blinding ray of blue light filled the room, slithering in from the space between the curtains. My eyes bulged and I dropped to my stomach, fear slapping me in the face. A rumble filled the room as the light filtered across the bed and shifted the shadows across the floor. They were here. They were right outside my room. Panting, I slid myself along the length of the wall, heart thumping in my ears. My hands shook as I reached out and grasped the windowsill, inching my head up to look out. The light continued to move along the pane, as if it was slowly passing by the window. The rumble never ceased, so deep I thought it was coming from inside my own head. I chanced a quick peek out the window. A hovering blue orb floated just outside, the size of a basketball. In the distance I could see two more, bobbing in the air like they were waiting. I melted to the floor again and squeezed my eyes shut, silent prayer pouring from my mouth. Shadows fluttered across the floor like coal-black butterflies. I craned my head to look up and saw the light begin to fade. It was going away. I felt a knot loosen in my stomach and a rush of air flooded my lungs. I wiped a trail of sweat from my face and shakily got to my knees. I cautiously looked out the window, eyes wide. The lights were gone. My phone beeped in my hand and I nearly screamed. I looked at the screen, 6/6/3/5/8/res. A text. I opened it. It read. Where did we go? I exited the text and shook my head. Were these things messing with me? To what end? What purpose? I went to the nightstand and snatched my car keys. If they knew I was here, then it wasn't safe to stay any longer. I had to use this time to go somewhere else. I had to get away from the lights, these deep lights, as the man called them. I didn't know what they wanted from me and I didn't want to find out. After taking another peek out the window, I flew from my room down into the parking lot. As my shoes patted across the pavement, my eyes roamed the night sky wildly, heart thundering in my chest. I kept expecting something to rocket at me from the darkness, but I managed to make it to my car without incident. I gunned the engine and pulled out onto the road. I didn't know where I wanted to go, so I chose a long stretch of country road that led to the next town 20 miles over. If I could make it there, then maybe I'd be safe. I wasn't sure what gave me that notion, but the plan cemented in my mind and I went with it. Just having a goal helped calm my frayed nerves. Dark countryside blurred past my windows as I urged my car to go faster, one eye on my rearview mirror. It was late, so I didn't see any other cars on the road. I found myself wishing for traffic just so I didn't feel so isolated or exposed. Suddenly, my phone rang and I snatched it up from the passenger's seat where I had tossed it. /6/6/3/5/8/moon. I answered. You there? I'm here, the male voice responded without interference. I think I've figured out how to talk to you without the static, but it won't last long, so we have to be quick. I gripped the steering wheel. What are they? The deep lights? The voice came back shaken. We don't know. We've been trying to contain one of them for years, but have failed on every attempt. I shot a look into the mirror. A crumple of slight static. Then, I worked for NASA. I guess technically I still do. I was with the third team they sent to go investigate these strange lights. Our satellites first made contact with them 3 years ago, hovering near the surface of the moon. Our moon. Our mission was to try to capture and contain these deep lights. From the data the first two parties obtained, we discovered they were capable of outputting an absurd amount of energy. One of them could power the United States for a decade before dying, if that gives you a rough idea what we're dealing with here. I felt the blood drain from my face. Jesus Christ, what happened to the other two teams that were sent out? The ping noise returned, but was quickly muted. The man continued. They couldn't control the lights. They're strange, almost childish in their behavior. But they're intelligent too. They can communicate through our technology. That's how we first discovered them. Someone at NASA stumbled across a transmission from the moon, filtered through one of our satellites. They were singing the national anthem. What the hell? I whispered as the road whizzed beneath me. The man coughed wetly from the other end. There's more you need to know. The deep lights, they have a temper. And when they get angry, they start to glow red. That's when you know it's coming. When what's coming? The explosion, the man said gravely. They're like fucking nukes. I began to feel sick. The first two teams. Yeah. They were wiped out. I guess trying to contain these things pisses them off. Imagine that. But the government wasn't going to let such an amazing discovery slip out of their grasp. Imagine what we could do, they told us before practically pushing us into the shuttle. I shifted the phone to my other ear. What happened to your team? We managed to land on the moon, close to the spot where last contact had been made 6 months prior. They were waiting for us. And goddamn it, they had gotten smarter. We didn't stand a chance. They came out of the ground, from the dust. I had 2 other team members with me. I ran. They didn't get the chance. The deep lights, fuck. I understand, I said, keeping an eye on the road. My mind was reeling. I suddenly heard white noise slowly begin to creep into the line. Where are you? I asked. His voice was becoming distant. I don't know, they took me somewhere. I don't know why they didn't kill me like the others. As I ran, they overtook me. They swallowed me in their light and sent me somewhere else. I'm in a room surrounded by machines like you can't even image. I don't even know how to describe it. Words haven't been discovered that could give justice to what this room looks like. I think I'm on some kind of moon. There's a window and I can see the stars and some kind of massive gray mountain to my left. I can also see a planet. The surface is, fuck, it's like a mirror, it's like liquid chrome. I don't know how else to describe it. I think we're orbiting it. He coughed and I heard a hiss of steam from between the static. You have to get me out of here. There's a door that's keeping me trapped in this room. It's locked from the outside. I can hear those fucking deep lights outside the door. Sometimes they talk to me through the machines in this room. I'm going insane, you have to get me out of here. My mouth went dry. What the hell am I supposed to do? How can I possibly help you? Static filled the other side. Let them catch you. Let them absorb you. It's only a matter of time. They're just playing with you anyway. Please. I can't stand being alone any longer. It's driving me mad. The line went dead. I slowly lowered the phone and placed it on the passenger's seat. My mind was spinning, a confused mess of information and fear. What the fuck had I been made part of?